Welcome to another episode of the Ear Hustler Podcast, where everybody has a story and God gets the glory. Today, our special guest is none other than Officer Tommy Dorsey, Sheriff Candidate for Athens, Clarke County. How are you doing this afternoon?
Doing well. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, first of all, let me ask you something. I know a lot of cities have combined sheriff department. Like in Washington, where I'm from, we no longer have a city police. We just have a sheriff. So how is it in Athens? Do y'all have city police and sheriff?
Yeah, in Athens, we do have city police as well as your county sheriff. But, you've got to have your sheriff constitutionally. You've got to have a sheriff in each county. Just constitutionally, where your police chief is appointed and the sheriff is elected. So, that's something that you've got to have. You've got to have that county sheriff in every county within the state, all over the country.
Okay. So you originally from Athens?
Born and raised right here in Athens. I was born down in Bethel Homes, and we moved from Glen Haven, and I was moved over to the east side, over to Vine Street. That's where I was, raised. That's where I grew up at, over on the east side of Athens. Okay,
and if you don't mind me asking, you look like a fairly young man. You don't look too much older than I am. How old are you, Mr.
49. Just turned 49 in April.
Okay.
April 2nd.
Okay, young man.
Yeah, to all the Aries out there.
Okay.
Give y'all a shout out.
And I know you're a God-fearing man, because I've seen you at church quite a few times.
Absolutely.
And you seem to be a very compassionate man, and those two go hand in hand, especially when you're stepping up to embark upon what you're doing now, running for sheriff of Athens, Clarke County. Yes, sir. How long have you been in law enforcement?
Oh, man, it's a great question. 27 years. Started my career off at the Athens RYDC, the Youth Detention Center. They closed that facility down due to state funding. I left there and went to the Clarke County Sheriff's Office, where I did 20 years there. And now I'm currently working with Clarke County School District Police Department as a school resource officer out at Cedar Shoals High School. Okay.
So what inspires you to want to get involved in law enforcement? Like as a kid, did you always want to be a police officer, or what triggered you to?
Well, not really. Growing up where I grew up at, I just saw that, we needed change. I saw that we needed people that looked like me, people that the community can relate to, so I got in it knowing that I can help people. So that's why I'm doing it, just to be able to help people, be able to be a voice for the communities around Athens.
What sparked your interest to run for the position of sheriff?
I have a passion for Athens within itself, a whole, Athens is my community, born and bred right here. And, a lot of times throughout this journey that I've been on, it's really not about where you were born. It's about what you're going to do for the community. So, I've put a stamp on it that, thus far, meaning that I've served in this community. I had opportunities to go to different agencies, but I chose to stay right here at home. When I retired from the sheriff's department, I had several offers to go outside of Athens, but I chose to stay right here because I knew that I was going to be running for sheriff. So why not stay right here in the county that I'm going to be running?
Okay, so you actually retired from the sheriff?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Okay. Well, Mr. Dorsey, what is one of the biggest problems that you see in Athens, Clarke County, and how do you think it can be fixed?
One of the biggest problems will be the youth, the violence that the youth are embarking on. We have several different, gangs that are running around. And, a lot of times people say you got hybrid gang members, but a gang is a gang. That's 3 or more involved in criminal activity. So, the youth, I believe they're just searching for acceptance. I think they're searching for leadership. They're searching for just to be appreciated. So, that's what I really want to focus on. I want to focus on the youth here in Athens.
Okay. Sometimes when I look at the relationship between the community and law enforcement. It kind of reminds me of the game we used to play as kids, Cops and Robbers.
Cops and Robbers.
So how do you think law enforcement can build better relationship with the community so that the community can trust the law enforcement more and the law enforcement can trust the community more? Because I know that there are a lot of situations where you all need the people, to help solve cases.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's all about rapport building. It's all about relationship building. It's all about, having your cops that just riding around rather than just riding, posting up somewhere, get out of the cars and go out and talk to people. Throughout my entire career, when I was on patrol, I felt that it was a need and a duty of mine to get out and see who I was going to be patrolling, who I was going to be protecting. So I felt that, and I feel that if the cops were to get out of the cars more, get out, walk through your neighborhoods, find out who lives in which apartments or which housing units, or just find out who is staying in the neighborhoods. That's all you really got to do. That will help you out. If the cops can be in the communities, that'll help them out tremendously.
Okay. And this is a question that I have. I have heard a lot of stories, and I've also experienced some stuff personally in the past. Now, if an officer pulls somebody over that's committing a crime, and I don't know if you at liberty to answer this, but does that officer has to necessarily arrest someone, or is it up to their discretion?
It's a lot of times it's officer's discretion. Of course, if he's breaking the law, you got to go. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times it's that officer's discretion, mm-hmm. And that's where that rapport building comes back into play, and if I know who this person is, and I know that this isn't this person's character, it could be numerous things from mental health. It could be anything mm-hmm. that a person is going through. So, throughout my entire career, I had a saying every day, everyone don't need to go to jail. And let me elaborate on that a little bit. If I knew people and I knew that this was out of this person's character, it was up to me as a law enforcement officer to see what the problem is rather than just taking them to jail. A lot of times everybody don't need to go to jail. A lot of times they could be, like I said earlier, it could be mental health. It could be depression. It could be lack of funds. It could be numerous things. But mm-hmm. if we are able as law enforcement officers to build relationships with people, we'll be able to understand and see what the problem really is.
Okay. Yeah, because I have a real concern for the youth myself, and I hate to see so many young guys, ruin their lives over simple stuff, stuff that, really wasn't probably that big of a deal. And of course, mm-hmm. Like violent crimes and rape and murder and stuff like that. Yeah, right. But a lot of stuff, I believe sometimes rehabilitation is better than incarceration. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you might get out and be worse than you were before you went in.
Absolutely.
And then you have that following you the rest of your life.
And see, that's one of the things that I definitely want to harp on, when elected. And I'm saying when elected because I'm very spiritual, very religious. And, the Bible says that if two or more touching and agreeing, we have to speak things into the atmosphere. So I'm saying when elected, we've got to be able to just take advantage of every situation, take advantage of things, take advantage of conversations. There was an older guy told me one time, conversation rules the nation.
Oh, yeah.
So, I definitely want to be able to capitalize on all conversations, on all aspects of my job as a law enforcement officer.
And if elected, you would have you would be transparent and have an open door policy.
Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. 100%.
People can know who they share. They can reach out and touch you.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. That's been something that I pray on a daily basis, mm-hmm. that God make me approachable, acceptable. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be that officer that's going to just walk around and people can't come and talk to me. I want people to know we elected you. So we're here, you can mm-hmm. come and talk to me at any time.
And then you have some people that's holding seats and stuff that people don't even know who they are.
Absolutely.
Don't even,
absolutely.
All they do is see a name on the ballot.
You're right.
And
You're right.
Yeah, that's good that you will be willing to, be approachable and able to listen to the citizens.
You know, I want the people, when they go and cast that vote on Tuesday, May 21st, I want them to feel good that they've casted the vote. I want them to feel good knowing that they voted Tommy Dorsey for sheriff. To know that we're about to have a change to happen.
Now let me ask you something, because the position of sheriff, one of the top priorities, you have to make sure that there's a safe and secure community. But not only that, you also have a lot of responsibility of creating and maintaining a secure workplace environment, you know, for the employees, the other officers and personnel. You know, in our country, sometimes, unfortunately, there are injustice situations that plague different areas. And I know as a sheriff, you will be supervising other officers. Will you be one that, if for any reason an officer does something inappropriate or outside of the policy that you all have in place, will there be any consequences for misconduct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. You know, you got to have those consequences in place. But, you know, as cops, we take an oath of office. But what I also want to focus on is transparency with my officers as well as the community. You know, I want to take full advantage of conversations with the officers, just like I'm taking advantage, you know, with the community as well. So, of course, the officers will be, you know, justifiable if they are doing something wrong, because we're going to have training in place. We're going to have, you know, just so many things in place. I don't want to go too much into detail with it, but I do have a lot of good plans.
Because training is important.
Training is huge. Training is everything. Absolutely.
And one other thing, I know sometimes laws change pretty much daily or weekly. And you know, anything from traffic laws or other laws. And a lot of people don't know about those changes until it's too late, until they violated these laws. Is there anything already in place that maybe to bring awareness to people of certain law changes?
Well, you know, you can Google anything now. You know, the phone is so powerful right now. You can Google anything that you could fathom your mind could think of. You know, any laws, any changes of laws, which when I first started, we had law books that we had to carry, you know, just so that we would be within policies and the law at all times. So, you know, things like that. So, yeah, people could just Google it, you know, go through your OCGA codes, meaning what the code numbers is, the cases, you know, you even have case laws that you can Google. You know, all this is public record. So, yeah, you can definitely have all that.
Okay. All right. I see you started campaigning very early, and that's commendable. You've been visible in the city, the county, churches, and community. You've had a strong campaign, and I think that's very important and very commendable that you didn't wait to the last minute like so many do.
Absolutely. You know, I just feel I try to be on top of everything. And one of my sayings is, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So, you know, Athens is my home. You know, I've been here, I've lived here, I've worked here, I've went educated here. So, you know, I'm here. So what I'm doing now is not out of the norm. You know, this is just what I do. This is who I am. I'm always visible in my community. This is me. This is what I do.
Well, Mr. Dorsey, how important do you think it is for people to get out and vote, especially our young people?
Wow, it's huge. You know, people have paved the way for us to get out to cast these votes. So, you know, it's huge to get out and vote, just so that, you know, a lot of people say that my vote won't count. Well, I tell you what, voting counts. Your vote counts. So I tell you what, I go back to vote Dorsey for sheriff, and you can see how important that will be, and the changes that will be made.
Yes, because ultimately it's the people that's going to decide.
Absolutely.
And it's people that's going to decide the future, and the power is in the vote.
Absolutely. You're right about that.
Let me ask you something. What is one thing that you can ensure the people that will happen if you are elected?
when elected, you will have a working sheriff. You'll have someone that's not going to sit behind a desk. You'll have someone that will be out in the communities, at your churches, even at your parties. You'll have somebody that's going to be here for you, because you're going to vote for me, vote me in, so I'm going to be here for you.
I want to close with this one. This is a big concern to a lot of people, especially parents, and that is safety in our schools. And you mentioned earlier that you have been employed, that you were at a school pretty much daily working. So what are some areas that you see maybe need to be improved in our schools?
What we want to do, safety is everything. You know, as a parent, we send our kids to school to be educated, not to be beat up, not to be bullied. We send them to school just for an education, you know. So when elected, I plan on partnering so hand in hand with the school district. I've actually spoken with the chief of police for the school district, and I plan on partnering with him to see how I can better fit in this community, you know, because it takes everybody. The Bible says that it takes a village to raise a kid. So I want to be a part of that village. So please vote Dorsey for sheriff. Let me be a part of that village.
Okay. And one last thing, since we're on school, unfortunately, we've noticed that the University of Georgia has had a lot of tragic things happening on their campuses.
Yeah.
On their campuses, and I want to know, and I know that they have their own policing over there or whatever, but how do you think, what is something that you think can be done to ensure the safety of the students and everyone on the University of Georgia campus?
I want all parents to know that when you send your kids to the University of Georgia, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that your kid is safe. You know, college, high school, elementary school, middle school, you're sending your kids to get an education, not to be killed. So you vote Tommy Dorsey for sheriff, and I can guarantee you that I'll work as hard as I can to make sure that it's safety for everyone.